Most people think the reason they can't lose weight is a lack of willpower. They blame themselves for not eating less or exercising more. But what if the truth is that your body isn't broken? It's just being blocked. What if there's a hidden hormone quietly deciding whether you burn fat or store it, and every diet you've tried has been fighting against it? That hormone is insulin, the silent traffic cop of your metabolism. Every bite of food you eat passes through its control. When insulin is balanced, your body becomes a fat-burning machine. But when it's out of balance, even the healthiest foods can trap fat right around your belly. Imagine your fat cells as a vault, and insulin as the key that either opens the vault to release stored energy or locks it shut, forcing your body to keep adding more to the pile. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are living in fat storage mode all day long without realizing it. They wake up already running on insulin, snack their way through the day, and go to bed still in a storage state. And the result? Energy crashes, constant cravings, stubborn belly fat that no workout seems to touch. You're not broken. Your hormones are simply sending the wrong signals. And yet, if you visit your doctor, you'll rarely hear this. You'll be told to less and move more, as if your body were just a simple math equation. But the body isn't a calculator, it's a chemistry lab. The truth is, hormones determine your metabolism, not calories. When insulin stays high, your body never gets permission to burn stored fat. It's like trying to drive your car while the parking brake is on. You can press the pedal harder, but you're not going anywhere. The modern world keeps that brake locked down. Processed foods, constant snacking, late night meals, even stress. They all keep insulin chronically elevated. You may not see it, but your body feels it. The brain fog, the inflammation, the stubborn weight that clings to your waistline. Insulin resistance isn't just about weight gain. It's about cellular communication breaking down. It's like static on your body's radio. The messages that tell your cells when to burn energy or rest become distorted. And that static leads to fatigue, inflammation, and the slow, silent breakdown of metabolic health. But here's the good news. The body wants to heal. It's wired for balance. You just have to remove the interference. And that's where the Insulin Reset Method comes in. A biological reboot that teaches your body to listen to its own wisdom again. Think of it like hitting refresh on your metabolism. When you reset insulin, everything changes. Your body stops hoarding fat and starts burning it. Inflammation cools down. Energy surges back. Mental clarity returns. You feel alive again because your body is finally working with you, not against you. Now, imagine this. Every time you eat, you're either feeding your body or feeding your fat cells. Most people are unknowingly feeding their fat cells all day long. But the moment you learn how to lower insulin, not by starving, but by eating and timing meals strategically, everything shifts. The locked vault opens. The stored fat becomes fuel again. And that stubborn belly fat that's been haunting you, it finally starts to melt away, not because of willpower, but because your biology is cooperating. Science now shows that insulin is the switch that determines whether you're in fat storage mode or fat burning mode. When you reset it, you don't just lose weight. You reverse inflammation, balance your hormones, and unlock your body's natural rhythm. It's like your metabolism remembers how to breathe again. So, if you've ever felt frustrated by diets that don't work or workouts that don't deliver, this isn't your fault. You've been targeting the wrong system. The solution isn't another meal plan or calorie count. It's a metabolic reset. Because when you control insulin, you control everything else. And over the next few minutes, you're going to discover exactly how to do that. I'm going to walk you through the science-backed timeline of what happens inside your body as insulin finally comes back into balance. How inflammation fades, how your energy stabilizes, how your belly fat starts to dissolve. You'll see how the body reawakens when it's no longer trapped in storage mode. And by the end, you'll understand why the insulin reset method isn't a temporary fix. It's the key to lasting fat loss, cellular health, and metabolic freedom. The first few weeks of the insulin reset method feel like something inside you finally clicks. It's as if the switch that's been stuck in the on position for years, constantly storing fat and fueling inflammation, finally flips to off. For the first time, your body begins to remember how to burn energy efficiently again. In the beginning, it's not about perfection, it's about rhythm. The moment you start adjusting your eating window, maybe you begin fasting for 14 or 16 hours a day, your body enters a new conversation with itself. Instead of waking up and flooding your system with insulin first thing in the morning, you give your body a chance to use the energy it already has. This small shift in timing is powerful. Every hour you spend not eating gives your insulin a chance to drop, like lowering the volume on background noise that's been blaring for years. When insulin levels begin to settle, something amazing happens. Your cells start to listen again. For too long, they've been bombarded with the same message. Store fat, store fat, store fat. Over time, they tune it out, just like you'd ignore a car alarm that's been going off all night. That's insulin resistance. But as you extend your fasting window and pair your meals correctly, those messages grow quieter. The static fades. Suddenly, there's clarity. Your cells start responding to insulin the way they're supposed to. Efficiently, cleanly, harmoniously. It's like tuning an old radio. In the beginning, the signal is fuzzy. You hear fragments of the song through the static. But as you make these subtle daily adjustments, spacing meals apart, choosing nutrient-dense foods with healthy fats and proteins, you start to get a crystal clear signal. Your hormones finally sync with your metabolism again. Around the end of week 1, you'll likely notice something that feels almost strange. Your hunger begins to change. You're no longer pulled towards snacks every few hours. That constant voice that used to whisper, "Grab something sweet," starts to quiet down. Why? Because your blood sugar isn't bouncing like a roller coaster anymore. As insulin levels drop between meals, your body learns to tap into its stored energy, your own fat, for fuel. Instead of chasing the next hit of glucose, it burns what it already has. By week 2, the fog starts to lift. You may wake up feeling lighter, not just in your body, but in your head. That morning grogginess fades faster. Your energy is steadier throughout the day. And it's not because you're taking a supplement or drinking coffee. It's because your cells are finally communicating clearly again. Your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, are getting access to energy they couldn't reach before. You'll notice this most in your mood. Food no longer controls you. You're not constantly thinking about your next meal or fighting cravings. There's a calm confidence that begins to take root. When your insulin starts to balance, it's not just your body that stabilizes, it's your mind. You begin to realize that for years, your mood swings weren't emotional weakness. They were biochemical signals from a body trapped in imbalance. By week 3, inflammation begins to cool down. It's subtle but noticeable. The bloating that used to make your midsection feel tight starts to ease. Your rings may fit looser. Your skin might even look clearer. Inside, the storm of oxidative stress that insulin resistance fuels is beginning to calm. The cells lining your gut, your liver, even your brain, start to function more smoothly. Blood sugar spikes flatten out, and your pancreas finally gets to rest. By the 4th week, this process compounds. Your fasting window feels natural, not forced. You may even look forward to that morning stretch before your first meal, because now you can feel your body burning stored fat for energy. The cravings that used to control you are no longer your default setting. Instead, You're driven by real hunger, not habit. The first month of this reset isn't just a physical transformation, it's emotional liberation. For years, insulin resistance has kept your body on autopilot, driving hunger, fatigue, and inflammation. But now you're regaining control. You start to trust your body again. You can tell the difference between emotional eating and true nourishment. And that awareness alone is powerful. In these first 4 weeks, your body isn't just losing fat, it's relearning balance. Your hormones begin to cooperate. Your metabolism remembers its original blueprint. And that's why this stage is called the switch turns on. It's not about restriction or struggle. It's about awakening the intelligence that's been there all along, the natural rhythm that allows you to burn fat effortlessly, stay full longer, and finally feel free from the constant tug of war with food. By the time you enter the second and third month of the Insulin Reset Method, something profound begins to unfold. The body stops surviving and starts thriving. The constant battle between hunger, fatigue, and willpower gives way to something new: metabolic freedom. This is the fat unlock phase, the moment when your body finally gives itself permission to burn the fat it's been clinging to for years. At this stage, your baseline insulin levels are no longer spiking and crashing all day. They've leveled out, and that single change opens the vault. The energy that was once trapped inside your belly fat, particularly visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your organs, is now being released molecule by molecule as fuel. For the first time in years, your body isn't depending on a constant stream of glucose to keep going. It's learned how to access the energy you've been storing all along. It's a bit like discovering an emergency power generator in your home that's been sitting unused because the switch was hidden. Once insulin quiets down, that generator hums to life. Your body becomes metabolically flexible. It can move gracefully between burning glucose and burning fat, depending on what's available. That flexibility is the hallmark of a healthy metabolism. It means your body isn't dependent on snacks, caffeine, or sugar spikes to function. You're no longer running on fumes. You're running on stored energy, and it feels steady, clean, and abundant. Inside your cells, a microscopic transformation is taking place. The mitochondria, the tiny power plants that produce your body's energy, are starting to function at full capacity again. When insulin levels are chronically high, these mitochondria become sluggish and inefficient. They produce less energy, create more waste, and contribute to the constant sense of fatigue. But as insulin resistance reverses, it's like opening the windows in a stuffy room. Oxygen flows in, the engines restart. Energy production becomes cleaner and more efficient. This is the moment when many people report feeling lighter, not just in weight, but in energy. You can wake up without the fog. You can go hours without thinking about food. You notice that workouts feel easier and recovery happens faster. That's because your body is finally aligned with its original design to store energy when food is abundant and burn it when needed. Modern living broke that rhythm. The insulin reset restores it. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't forced fat loss. This isn't deprivation. This is cellular permission. For the first time, your body is saying it's safe to let go. Your fat cells are no longer holding on to energy for survival because insulin is no longer signaling danger. When insulin is high, your body interprets it as a cue that food is constantly coming in, so it keeps storing and storing. But when insulin drops, it's a green light. The doors open. Fatty acids flow out of storage and into the bloodstream, where your muscles, heart, and brain use them as fuel. As those fat stores are released, another miracle happens. Inflammation begins to fade like a fire finally losing its fuel. The same visceral fat that's being burned off is also the source of inflammatory cytokines, the compounds that keep your body in a chronic state of low-grade inflammation. As that fat melts, those inflammatory messengers quiet down. The puffiness in your face lessens. The tightness in your joints eases. You move with more freedom. The heat that once simmered under your skin begins to cool. At this point, your metabolism isn't fragile anymore. It's adaptive. It knows how to switch gears. When you eat, your body uses what it needs. When you fast, it pulls from reserves effortlessly. This is the essence of metabolic flexibility, and it's one of the most important markers of long-term health and longevity. You're not stuck in one mode. Your metabolism becomes fluent in both languages, glucose and fat. What's truly fascinating is how this transformation ripples through every part of your physiology. When fat cells shrink, they release stored toxins that have been trapped inside them. Your liver, now less burdened by constant insulin spikes, processes those toxins more efficiently. Your digestive system functions better. Your hormones, especially leptin and ghrelin, which control hunger and satiety, finally find their balance. You begin to feel a sense of peace around food that you may not have experienced in years. The emotional transformation during this phase is just as striking as the physical one. You no longer feel betrayed by your body. You feel connected to it. You start to trust your hunger again because it's no longer being hijacked by insulin chaos. There's a deep relief that comes with realizing you're not fighting against your biology. You're finally aligned with it. And that's the key. This isn't a diet. Diets manipulate calories. The Insulin Reset Method corrects hormones. It repairs communication. It's not about restriction, it's about restoration. You're not forcing your body to lose fat. You're teaching it to remember how. As the weeks roll into months, you can literally feel the shift. The belly begins to flatten, not because of magic, but because the biological locks have been released. Your energy rises because your cells are free to breathe again. And for the first time in years, your body is not at war with itself. It's finally in harmony, burning, healing, and thriving just the way it was designed to. By the time you reach the 4th to 6th month of the Insulin Reset Method, the transformation moves beyond fat loss. What's happening now isn't just visible in the mirror. It's happening deep inside your cells. This is the phase where true healing begins, where inflammation finally fades, not because of a pill or a supplement, but because your biology is finally free to do what it's built to do: restore, repair, and regenerate. For years, high insulin levels have been quietly fueling the flames of inflammation inside your body. Every time insulin spikes, it sets off a cascade of chemical reactions. Think of it like tiny sparks igniting a slow, smoldering fire in your tissues. Those sparks come from inflammatory cytokines, small signaling proteins that your immune system releases when it thinks something's wrong. When insulin is elevated too often, those cytokines never turn off. They keep your immune system in a constant state of alarm. It's like your body's internal firefighters are always on duty, spraying water where there's no real fire anymore. Over time, that constant stress damages healthy cells, leading to pain, bloating, brain fog, and fatigue. But when insulin drops and stabilizes, those cytokine signals finally quiet down. The body can exhale. Imagine your cells like they've been holding their breath underwater for years, tense, struggling, desperate for oxygen. And now, they finally rise to the surface and take that first deep, relieving breath. This is the feeling of inflammation cooling down from the inside out. It's subtle at first, but unmistakable. You wake up with less stiffness. Your gut feels calmer. Your energy doesn't dip after meals. The constant low-grade ache that used to hum in the background begins to fade. Inside your blood, the changes are measurable. Studies show that when insulin sensitivity improves, inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein CRP begin to decline. That's a clinical sign that the fires of inflammation are being extinguished. The oxidative stress, the imbalance between free radicals and antioxidants, starts to normalize. Your mitochondria, which had been overwhelmed by toxic byproducts, start working efficiently again. They produce cleaner energy with less waste. It's as if your cellular engines are finally running on premium fuel instead of sludge. This deep cellular healing touches every part of the body. In your joints, reduced inflammation means less swelling and stiffness. Many people describe the feeling as if their body has been oiled. From within, movement becomes smoother, easier, more fluid. In your skin, you start to see the glow of lower inflammation. Breakouts fade, redness softens, and even fine lines appear smoother. That's because high insulin drives excessive oil production and inflammation in the skin, which accelerate aging. Once insulin normalizes, the skin heals just as your inner tissues do. Your liver, the body's metabolic command center, also begins to regenerate. High insulin levels force the liver to store excess sugar as fat, leading to fatty liver disease in millions of people who don't even know they have it. But as insulin sensitivity returns, the liver gets permission to burn that fat instead of storing it. It's like cleaning out years of metabolic clutter. The enzymes that detoxify your blood start working at full strength again, helping your entire system feel cleaner, lighter, more alive. In the gut, inflammation reduction means the intestinal barrier starts to repair itself. High insulin and blood sugar levels damage the gut lining, allowing toxins and food particles to leak into the bloodstream, a condition often called leaky gut. As your hormones stabilize, the gut microbiome becomes more balanced, digestion improves, and bloating disappears. The result is not just physical comfort, but improved mood and mental clarity, because the gut is directly connected to your brain through the vagus nerve. That's another remarkable part of this phase. The brain begins to heal too. When inflammation subsides and blood sugar becomes stable, your mental fog lifts, focus sharpens. Emotional swings that once felt uncontrollable become rare. You start to feel grounded, calm, even optimistic. The same biochemical chaos that once triggered anxiety or irritability is now replaced with harmony. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemicals, are no longer suppressed by inflammation and oxidative stress. This phase often feels like stepping into a new version of yourself. You notice your patience returning. Your thoughts feel clear. Your energy doesn't crash in the afternoon. And it's not from external effort. It's because your internal chemistry has found its rhythm again. You're not constantly fighting against inflammation or insulin surges. Your biology has recalibrated itself to balance. And the changes keep compounding. Your fasting insulin levels continue to drop, which means your cells are listening perfectly to the signals your pancreas sends. The body becomes efficient, not in a frantic, calorie-burning way, but in a peaceful, stable way. You're no longer overproducing insulin to manage every meal. That balance keeps oxidative stress low, reduces cell damage, and extends the lifespan of every system in your body. By months 4 to 6, this is no longer just about looking leaner. It's about becoming younger at a cellular level. Every organ, every tissue, every cell has been waiting for this reprieve from constant insulin-driven inflammation. When you lower that hormonal noise, healing becomes your body's full-time job again. The skin clears, the eyes brighten, the mind steadies, and all of it happens because you've addressed the root cause insulin imbalance. You can feel it, that deep sense of ease in your body. It's not the buzz of caffeine or the rush of sugar. It's a quiet, steady vitality that doesn't fade. This is the body's true state when inflammation is gone and communication is clear. After years of suffocation, your cells are finally exhaling, and in that breath, they're healing, renewing, and restoring the health that was always meant to be yours. By the time you reach months 6 through 9 of the Insulin Reset Method, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your body no longer needs to try to burn fat. It simply does. What started as a conscious effort, fasting windows, meal timing, nutrient balancing has now become instinctive. Your metabolism has been reprogrammed. You've crossed over from fighting your biology to flowing with it. This is the phase of metabolic freedom, when your body becomes so efficient it can switch between burning sugar and fat as effortlessly as a hybrid car switching between electric and gas. Think of your metabolism like an engine. For years, it was running on low-grade, inefficient fuel, constantly needing refills, sputtering when it didn't get them. High insulin levels were like carbon buildup in that engine, gumming up the system and forcing it to work harder just to keep running. But now, after months of consistent hormonal balance, your metabolism has evolved. It's no longer an old gas guzzler. It's a hybrid electric powerhouse. When glucose is available, it burns clean. When it's not, it seamlessly transitions to stored fat without missing a beat. This is called metabolic flexibility, and it's one of the most powerful markers of long-term health. In this state, your body doesn't panic when you skip a meal. It doesn't send cravings or fatigue signals. Instead, it taps into stored fat calmly, efficiently, and continuously. That means you're burning fat even when you're not trying. Even while you sleep, deep inside your cells, your mitochondria, the engines of your metabolism, are functioning better than they have in years. Chronic insulin resistance once forced them to burn dirty fuel, producing excessive free radicals and oxidative stress. But now, with insulin under control, your mitochondria are running clean. They're generating ATP, the body's energy currency, with less waste and more precision. You feel it as stable energy, clear focus, and steady motivation throughout the day. No more afternoon crashes, no more brain fog. Your body is finally running on premium energy. And the benefits go beyond mitochondria. Leptin, the hormone that tells your brain when you're full, becomes sensitive again. When insulin resistance was high, leptin signals were blocked, leading to overeating and constant hunger. But now, leptin and insulin are speaking the same language again. You stop eating not because you have to, but because your body naturally says, "I've had enough." You're no longer fighting cravings. You're aligned with your hunger. Your glucose tolerance, your body's ability to handle carbs, also improves dramatically. When insulin sensitivity is restored, even when you enjoy a higher carb meal, your body handles it with ease. Your pancreas doesn't overact. Your blood sugar rises smoothly, then returns to normal just as smoothly. This isn't about deprivation anymore. It's about resilience. Your metabolism is now strong enough to adapt to different foods and rhythms without crashing. This phase is also where lifestyle becomes a multiplier. You begin to realize that your habits, how you sleep, move, hydrate, and even think, directly influence your insulin sensitivity. Proper sleep becomes non-negotiable because during deep rest, your cells repair and your insulin receptors become more responsive. One poor night's sleep can spike insulin by up to 30%, so now you treat rest like nutrition. Hydration matters too. Water isn't just for thirst, it's the medium that allows your cells to communicate efficiently. Even mild dehydration can raise cortisol, which in turn raises insulin. You start to drink with purpose to fuel the chemistry of health. And then there's circadian alignment, syncing your lifestyle with your body's natural clock. When you finish eating a few hours before bed and expose yourself to morning sunlight, you're telling your body, we're in rhythm. Your metabolism loves rhythm. It thrives on it. Every system, your pancreas, liver, and even your gut microbes runs on that internal clock. When your lifestyle matches that rhythm, insulin sensitivity stays strong, inflammation stays low, and your metabolism stays effortless. But beyond the biology, this phase is deeply emotional. There's a quiet confidence that begins to grow when you realize your body works again. You're no longer ruled by food, by cravings, or by the guilt that comes after eating. You feel in control, but not in a restrictive way, in a liberated one. You trust your hunger cues. You know when to eat, when to rest, when to move. It's as if your body and mind are finally in sync, having a conversation they haven't had in years. That inner clarity translates into every part of life. You wake up with purpose. You're sharper in thought, calmer in reaction, and more grounded in decisions. What began as a physical transformation becomes mental and even spiritual. You realize that health isn't about chasing perfection. It's about returning to balance. By month 9, your metabolism is no longer fragile, it's adaptable. You've rebuilt a system that can handle stress, travel, changes in routine, even the occasional indulgence, because your biology has been rewired for stability. You've become metabolically bilingual, fluent in both sugar and fat, and the best part, you no longer need to think about it. Your body simply knows. It's been retrained not just to burn fat, but to sustain health, energy, and confidence for life. By the 9th month of the Insulin Reset Method, something profound is happening inside your body, a transformation that goes far beyond fat loss. You've already retrained your metabolism to burn fat effortlessly, but now the benefits ripple through every hormonal system. This is the phase of hormonal harmony, where your body begins to rebuild youth from the inside out. When insulin remains steady over time, it no longer hijacks your other hormones. Instead, it orchestrates a powerful symphony of balance between thyroid, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, and growth hormone that reawakens energy, vitality, and strength you may not have felt in years. Hormones are like musicians in an orchestra. When insulin is chronically elevated, it's as if one player is blasting their instrument off key, throwing the entire performance into chaos. The thyroid slows down, cortisol spikes unpredictably, sex hormones fall out of tune. But once insulin finds its rhythm, the rest of the orchestra follows. Everything begins to harmonize again, and the result is an internal melody of repair, regeneration, and balance. The thyroid, the body's metabolic conductor, finally catches its breath. High insulin has a direct suppressive effect on thyroid function, slowing metabolism and making weight loss nearly impossible. But now, with insulin normalized, the thyroid begins to produce hormones efficiently again. T3 and T4 rise to optimal levels, and the cells start responding to them more effectively. You can feel it as a lightness, a return of steady energy. Your hands and feet warm up again, your digestion improves, and your body temperature stabilizes. Small but powerful signs that your metabolism is alive and firing. Cortisol, the stress hormone, also begins to balance. For years, high insulin kept your body in a low-grade stress response. Elevated cortisol and insulin feed each other in a vicious loop. Stress raises blood sugar, which raises insulin, which creates more stress. But as insulin stays low and stable, cortisol finally quiets down. Your body shifts out of survival mode and into recovery mode. Sleep deepens. Anxiety diminishes. You wake up feeling restored instead of depleted. The chronic tension in your muscles eases, and your nervous system starts to trust again that it's safe to rest and heal. At the same time, your sex hormones begin to flourish. For women, stable insulin levels help regulate estrogen and progesterone, balancing cycles and reducing symptoms like bloating, fatigue, and mood swings. For men, testosterone production begins to rise naturally because high insulin, which once suppressed it, is no longer dominating the hormonal landscape. The results show up not just in numbers, but in how you feel stronger, more focused, more confident. Libido returns, endurance improves, and muscle tone begins to rebuild, even without changing your workout routine. One of the most exciting transformations in this phase comes from the synergy between growth hormone and insulin. These two hormones are metabolic opposites. When insulin is high, growth hormone is suppressed. But when insulin stays consistently low, growth hormone levels rise naturally, especially during fasting and deep sleep. Growth hormone is the body's master repair signal. It promotes fat burning, muscle preservation, and tissue regeneration. It's what gives skin its elasticity, joints their flexibility, and muscles their tone. As your body produces more of it, you begin to see visible signs of renewal: tighter waistline, firmer skin, stronger muscles, and an unmistakable glow of vitality. This phase is also when your immune system becomes more resilient. High insulin drives chronic inflammation, which exhausts the immune response. But now, with inflammation dialed down, your immune cells can focus on real threats: pathogens, damaged cells, oxidative stress, instead of constantly fighting internal chaos. People often notice they recover faster from colds, experience fewer allergies, and feel less run down. It's not coincidence, it's biology working properly again. Your brain feels this transformation too. The fog that once clouded your thoughts clears completely. Neurotransmitters stabilize, focus sharpens, and memory strengthens. It's as if someone turned the lights back on in your mind. And because blood sugar is stable, your mood is stable. No more emotional swings tied to energy dips. What you feel instead is a calm, grounded confidence. Decisions become easier. Motivation feels natural. The clarity that comes from hormonal harmony doesn't just change your body, it changes how you live your life. All these internal shifts add up to something even more powerful: the feeling of biological youth. Aging, at its core, is the accumulation of damage caused by inflammation and oxidative stress. Chronically high insulin accelerates both. But when insulin is balanced long-term, that damage slows dramatically. Your cells stop rusting from the inside out. Telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA, shorten more slowly. Collagen production improves. Even your mitochondria regenerate faster. You're not just looking younger. At the cellular level, you are younger. And here's the most profound realization of this stage: you're not just maintaining weight loss, you're maintaining youthfulness. The same hormonal network that once stored fat and drained energy is now working together to keep you lean, focused, and resilient. You've upgraded your internal operating system from chaos to coherence. By this point, the insulin reset method isn't something you do. It's something your body is. The habits are natural. The cravings are gone. Food is fuel, not an emotional crutch. You're not counting calories. You're living in rhythm. You've restored communication at every level of your biology, from your cells to your hormones to your thoughts. The body that once resisted change is now thriving on it. You can see it in the mirror, but more importantly, you can feel it in your steady energy, clear mind, and quiet confidence. Your body is leaner, stronger, and more alive, not because of restriction, but because every cell, every hormone, and every system has finally remembered what it means to be in harmony. At this stage, your body is no longer fighting to survive. It's thriving. You've restored your metabolism, balanced your hormones, and reclaimed your natural rhythm. What comes next isn't about strict rules or deprivation. It's about freedom, metabolic freedom, the kind of freedom where food no longer controls you, where your energy is stable, your mood is calm, and your body knows exactly how to stay lean and inflammation-free for life. This is the insulin freedom lifestyle, not a temporary program, but a way of living that keeps your biology sharp, your mind clear, and your spirit unstoppable. You've spent months retraining your insulin response, healing inflammation, and awakening your body's fat-burning intelligence. Now, the key is to maintain that balance through strategic variation, the art of keeping your metabolism flexible. The human body loves rhythm, but it also thrives on change. Too much consistency can lead to stagnation. That's why this next phase isn't about doing the same thing forever. It's about mastering adaptability. Think of it like a finely tuned orchestra again. When every instrument plays the same note continuously, it becomes noise. But when the tempo shifts, the sound comes alive. The same principle applies to your metabolism. Your body becomes stronger when it learns to handle change. Different fasting windows, meal timings, and food compositions. This variation keeps insulin responsive, mitochondria efficient, and fat burning seamless. For example, if you've been fasting for 16 hours a day, occasionally shorten it to 12 or extend it to 20. Introduce a day of refeeding, eating wholesome, nutrient-dense meals to remind your body that it's safe and abundant. If you've been eating mostly low-carb, cycle in strategic healthy carbs like sweet potatoes or fruit once or twice a week. This not only replenishes glycogen, but also boosts leptin, thyroid hormones, and growth hormone, all of which help you maintain long-term fat loss without slowing metabolism. This isn't a rigid formula. It's a conversation with your body. Some days it will ask for rest, others for movement. Some days you'll crave a longer fast, others a nourishing meal earlier in the day. When insulin is balanced, you can trust those signals because they're real. You're no longer responding to cravings or stress hormones. You're responding to biological truth. The insulin freedom lifestyle also goes beyond food and fasting. It's about nurturing every pillar that keeps insulin sensitivity strong: sleep, movement, stress management, and mindset. Sleep, for instance, is when insulin receptors repair themselves. It's when growth hormone surges, fat burning peaks, and your brain detoxifies. Treat it like your secret weapon. Protect your bedtime like you protect your health, because it is your health. Movement, too, becomes your ally, not as punishment for eating, but as communication with your cells. Resistance training, walking, stretching, even deep breathing, all of these enhance insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial efficiency. You don't have to crush yourself in the gym, you just have to move with intention. Your muscles are like metabolic sponges. Every time they contract, they soak up glucose, keeping insulin low and stable. And then there's stress, the invisible insulin trigger. Chronic stress keeps cortisol high, which keeps insulin elevated, even if your diet is perfect. The solution isn't to avoid stress, but to build resilience to it. Breathwork, prayer, meditation, time in nature, these aren't luxuries, they're tools for metabolic stability. When your mind is calm, your hormones follow. This phase is also where your mindset shifts from "I'm fixing my body" to "I'm mastering my biology." You realize health isn't a finish line, it's a skill, one you refine daily. Every choice, every bite, every night's sleep either protects or disrupts your insulin sensitivity. And once you understand that, you no longer feel restricted. You feel empowered. Because now, you're in control of the one thing that controls everything else: your hormones. You've learned that your body isn't broken. It never was. It was simply overwhelmed, waiting for you to lower the noise so it could speak again. When you gave it the right environment, steady insulin, balanced rhythm, real nourishment, it responded instantly. It healed, rebalanced, and thrived. That's not coincidence. That's biology working exactly as designed. Now that you've reset your insulin, your next mission is to protect it. Live with curiosity. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and stay connected to your body's signals. Let variation become your secret weapon and awareness your superpower. Because the truth is, health isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm. Some days will flow, others will wobble. But once you've experienced metabolic freedom, you'll always know the way back. This is what mastery feels like. Not chasing, not forcing, just flowing. You're leaner, calmer, sharper, and more alive because you've unlocked the ultimate secret. When insulin is balanced, your biology works for you, not against you. You've given your body the freedom it's always wanted. And in return, it's giving you the energy, clarity, and strength to live the life you were meant for.